What is up, everybody? Happy Saturday to you. I hope that you are enjoying your morning. I'm getting ready to take my kids to a corn maze, let them burn off some energy, get into some nature. But I caught this video from O'Shea Duke Jackson, and he's talking about how Atlanta women are looking to cancel Umar Johnson. And I don't watch a lot of these little shows, dating shows. I'm not interested in those things. So I usually watch clips like if Abba and Preach. I love those guys. If they're covering some of these dating shows, I'll watch, what they cover, and then I'll kind of move on. I don't really sit there and watch stuff like that. But O'Shea is talking about how Umar was asked to go on this show 20 and 1, and I guess it's a dating show where you have like 20 people against like one person of the opposite sex. And so Umar made a comment of saying that he would go on the show if he knew 100% that the women that would be presented to him would be 100% biological Black women. And obviously Umar has a criteria for Black women, right? And he wants natural, healthy Black women who don't wear European hair, right? Or none of that stuff, right? And he's very adamant about this, especially when he's dealing with women in the Atlanta area. And if anybody knows anything about Atlanta, it really is the mecca for Black homosexuality and alternative lifestyles. I really feel like that's why so many people go out to Atlanta, because when you buy into things like that, obviously these are anti-God things. And so the more anti-God your lifestyle and practices are in Satan's world, the higher probability that you are going to be able to achieve some level of success. Okay? So with that being said, Umar, he is making this distinction very clear, and he's being very firm on it, because he had a situation in which he was invited to a panel. And O'Shea talks about this. It's a great video. He talks about it in the panel. He's on a panel with Cynthia G and some other people, and they're talking, about, Black people, the diaspora, whoop-de-whoop, right? And he had a dialogue with a individual, and when I was hearing this individual communicating, speaking, this person sounded very intelligent. They sounded like they had a firm conviction. I, as a woman, thought that was another woman as well. And it wasn't until afterwards that, Umar found out that this woman that he thought was a woman was actually a biological male. And he had some choice words to say about that, because he felt like he was manipulated. And he didn't kind of go in with he didn't have all the information going in.
Nobody can handle me. So if you want to bring a surgically altered male, no disrespect, but don't you think you have a right to tell me? Do your guests have a right to be informed?
See, I don't necessarily think. It really depends on the conversation, right? If you are talking about a conversation about just Black women, right? And you invite Umar Johnson on to give his perspective about Black women, and you tell him you're going to be on a panel with a bunch of you're going to be on a panel with Black women, and it's a touchy situation, right? Because I think one of the trans arguments is that they want to be able to identify 100% as the sex that they've decided to, transition into, right? And they don't feel like they have the obligation to inform other people about their transitions. Now, I think that this is a situational thing, really. I don't think that trans people, should have to wear their trans position on their sleeve, meaning that when you're going and you're talking about, lemons, right? You don't have to like reveal, hey, I'm a trans person on this conversation talking about lemons, right? But if you're specifically talking about the plight of Black woman, now I do feel like the transparency in that would be, that there is somebody on this panel who is absorbing the plight of a Black woman who was not naturally born a Black woman, but they're advocating and speaking on the plight of Black women as if they are. In this situation, I don't think that Umar necessarily needed to be informed that that individual was not a woman. And again, I'm going to kind of agree with the individual here that he was more upset because he thought that this was an attractive Black queen that qualified, with his requirements of a Black woman. Okay. And I think that's what it was, but he didn't realize that that was a man, like a biological male, right? So he's not very happy about that.
Well, that's all I'm saying. Don't have me thinking I'm talking to a woman. Don't have me thinking I'm talking to a woman. Don't have me think I'm talking to a woman.
Everybody confused out here.
And I'm having a conversation with a surgically altered male. That's all. No disrespect. Just let me know. Hope Gazelle, I ain't got nothing against you, bruh. Hope Gazelle, I ain't got nothing against you, bruh. Hope Gazelle, I ain't got nothing against you, bruh. I'm simply saying I had a right to know.
No, you didn't, Umar. I think what you're dealing with is exactly what Hope Gazelle is going to tell you. You're dealing with, but on the flip side, Hope Gazelle is going to, Giselle or Gazelle, whatever her name is, they're going to reveal something about the trans ideology that is very interesting. And it is very dangerous for them as well. Because when you are cosplaying or you are appearing to be one thing, especially if you are not fully gone the distance and whatever you are doing, and then you look just like a woman. I am a woman. I am a biological woman. I've had 3 kids come out of my body. But I was looking at that person and I'm like, I'm thinking that this is an intelligent Black woman speaking. And, but it's really a intelligent personification of a Black woman who is speaking, basically. It gets a little
I'm not going to disrespect you.
And you got to be respectful on this, right? There are some people, they don't rock with these alternative cultures. And I feel like in all these little creative ways, they are superimposing these alternative cultures on men. And what they're doing is they're taking like these cream of the crop trans women and they are attempting to confuse men, emasculate men with these women, but that's a very dangerous game to play when you're trying to emasculate alpha type men. It's a dangerous game to play.
But then,
so Hope Giselle chimes in and she rebuts
Umar, is that you sat there on that mother live, that panel, for an hour and a half.
And see, they love this, right? They love being successful deceivers. I'm looking at this Hope Gazelle person sit there and it's almost like a brag point. We fooled you. And listen to this person's word choice.
With commercial breaks and all of that. And your little dick was jumping. And every time I opened my intelligent mouth, your little a little harder. And you were just so enthralled with this Black queen that was spitting this knowledge. And even if you didn't agree with everything that I was saying, you was down for it. Because when it comes down to the women that you claim that you like on that panel, I was her. It's giving skin. It was giving fresh face. It was giving no cleavage. It was giving, I'm not giving it to everybody. It was giving
It was giving lots of estrogen in the male body.
Giving African kente cloth. It was giving all of the things, and I set it up that way for a reason. I didn't go in and put on lashes or overdo my makeup.
So here's the thing. This person was very intentional in how they chose to present themselves to Umar specifically. They literally worked themselves into Umar's idea of a black woman, because O'Shea shows pictures of this person and she has the European hair on, right? Like the O'Shea is showing pictures of her and she doesn't meet all the time the ideas, or they don't meet the ideas of Umar's standards of a black woman all the time. So when she went into that interview with Umar Johnson, you know, they knew exactly what they were doing. No, and I'm trying to use my word choice because, you know, I don't advocate alternative lifestyle. I am a disciple of Christ, and I believe that, you know, we all have those moments in life, but, you know, when you understand the word of God, it is what it is, and it has a rationality that is way more divine than what humans want to do for themselves. And so I'm more like, I'm not going to demonize people who make these alternative life choices, but to the extent that I can't enable them. I don't, support them. I don't ally for them. To the extent that I ally for just basic human beings, is I'm not going to let some other person demonize or harass somebody for just what they choose to be. That's kind of where I stand. But anything else, it's like, I'm not going to make you feel better about whatever choice you made that was against God. So, but it's very interesting that this person literally made herself in an image of what she thought, or they thought, Umar would like.
I barely brushed my hair.
She didn't even brush it.
I didn't want people to turn around and say, you can only fool us if you have all of that going on.
So basically, she said, I didn't put lashes on. I didn't do anything. She said because she didn't want people to say that you can only fool us if you got the fake lashes and all that stuff going on. So this person made an executive decision to go very Afrocentric, go very, which they thought that a guy like Umar Johnson would like, because she's even saying that foolery is in the equation.
Kente cloth. It was giving all of the things, and I set it up that way for a reason.
Set it up that way.
I didn't go in and put on lashes or overdo my makeup. I barely brushed my hair because I didn't want people to turn around and say, you can only fool us if you have all of that going on. You can only trick us if you have all of that going on. You can only be a woman if you have all of that going on. And it wasn't giving any of that. And you still sat there on the other end of that mother screen, enthralled with my black, beautiful queen. And you did so on a public platform in front of everybody, and it's going to live forever, and you can never take it back. Because
see, these people get a rise out of emasculating black men, right? Especially black men like Umar, right? If they can successfully trick these men, right, which is ultimately what this little psyop thing is really all about, is they're trying to emasculate men in America. And it goes beyond black men. It really is an attack on masculinity. And it's very satanic. And obviously you have a lot of these weirdo people who got a lot of money who are leading the charge on this. So when you have this 20-1 and you have a highly emasculated male, and then you want to weave in all these biological males that are living as females, right? That is an intent. That is on purpose. And this person is really revealing a lot about how some of these people rock, right? Because trans women are not women. Trans women are trans women. And it is their job, for the betterment of their own safety to be transparent when they are going into deeper relationships with people, it's not about what you want, what you desire. It's about considering what the other person want and desire too. And if that's not you, you need to be able to walk away. You shouldn't be going into these trickery, foolery campaigns or whatever, trying to morph yourself into this idea of what this masculine man would want so you can trick him and emasculate him. And this is why, I just feel like, some of this stuff is just
a
MK
whole bunch of
Ultra.
other people have seen you call my trans ass a beautiful black queen on several occasions.
Here's the thing. As a biological woman, I can honestly say that the image of the person that I'm looking at right now is the image of a beautiful black woman, right? I mean, and honestly, now that, my consciousness is more raised, right? I actually do see the masculine features in this person's face. But, you got to understand too that like some black women, we have very strong, prominent features that really may come off looking masculine, right? So it is sometimes very hard to tell, some of these women from like natural black women, right? Because some of us, we do have some level of just masculinity. We have very strong, prominent features, right? And so, when you have like a biological male who is cosplaying as a woman and he's a black male, right? He's going to be able to pull it off. Ethnic men can actually pull off transgenderism a lot better than, let's just say, white men. Like some white men, no matter what, they just look like dudes regardless. But and even some black men, men do not make good looking women more times than not. But there are so many exceptions to that rule. And this is one of them. Giselle Hudson or whatever, or Hudson Giselle, this person is literally one of those exceptions where they do look like a black
And
woman.
that's what you're really upset about. You could give less than about the fact that you were on the panel, that you didn't know or that you didn't know. The only thing that you're pressed about is the fact that you couldn't censor yourself not to say how you truly felt about what you were sitting in front of.
Basically, Hope Giselle was saying that Dr. Umar Johnson was turned on, and that's the reason.
And he probably was. I mean, you think about it. Umar likely was turned on by the image of, I'm sorry, not Hudson, but Hope Giselle, okay? Because she literally made the effort to cosplay herself or themselves in a way that was appealing to him, right? They went in with trickery on the mind, right? So, on one side, Umar has every right to feel like he was manipulated, even though I think his premise for feeling that way is a bit off, because depending on the topic, because I'm seeing black looking women and there's another black man on this panel too, right? But depending on the topic, right, it really didn't merit Hope Giselle telling Umar Johnson that they were a biological male, but at the same time, Hope Giselle went into that whole situation trying to meet the image of what Umar liked in black women. And I'm pretty sure that Umar thought he was talking to a black woman. I thought that was a black woman before this story kind of developed on O'Shea's channel. I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, but again, I'm not judging anybody for how they choose to live. But there are some people who are on a mission to choose to live the way that they do and manipulate other people into buying into it by, sort of cosplaying themselves and doing things that create emasculating moments for these men. So, and you see the recourse, so many different times when you have trans women who are brutally murdered, And they are brutally murdered, right? And a lot of times those things are framed as hate crimes, right? But when you really look in between a lot of what is going on there, this is a person who manipulated another person into believing that they were something they are not. And then when all was said and done, right, maybe they had some type of relations or something like that, and this person discovered that this person was not a biological male. This person was actually a biological female. This was actually a male that they had relations with. That is very psychologically emasculating for a lot of men. And a lot of people will argue it's not justifiable for these men to, go to those extremes with these women. But let's keep it all the way 100. These women, some of these cosplaying women, are going to the extremes to fool and emasculate men. So there's intent happening on both sides here, and I think that we should be conscious of that, and as we're trying to all coexist with all these realities of all these different types of people, it is very notable, to raise awareness about things like this, because it's never going to go well for trans women. It's never going to go well for trans women. And that's just word 100. When you are going in with manipulating or emasculating men, it's just not going to ever go well. So you guys, let me know what you think about this. I don't think Umar had a right to know if that particular person was a trans person in that scenario, but in any other scenario where he's, establishing a personal or intimate relationship with that person, I do think that disclosure is important. And I don't think that it's being any type of phobic, saying, you know what, I respect who you are as a person, but my interest is being with the biological opposite sex, right? And these trans people have to acknowledge that not everybody is going to accept them or at least absorb them 100% as they choose to be and are. No matter how much you like that person, people are going to discriminate against you because some people just don't rock like that. They don't rock like that. And I think that it's just bad taste, for people to just be on a mission to just go out of their way so that they can manipulate men. It's just dangerous. It's bad taste. And it doesn't really make that, women in that community or, trans women look good. So let me know what you guys think about this, and I will catch you on the next one. Maybe I'll do one later if I find something else that's interesting that we should probably have some more consciousness about. People are very quick to get in their feelings, but they're not looking at the logical aspect of this, that when you have biological men living as women targeting other biological men who don't rock like that, you're creating way more problems for your community, yourself, and your community. I'll talk to you later. Bye.